Hello, hello, good evening. We're going to just do a physical class, physical practice of asana this evening. Chances to maybe work a little bit harder, but always options and modifications given for those who need it. And kind of focusing again on the digestion and the internal organs to help with the elimination, all the stuff that we really need to boost our immune system. And I don't want to mention any names of any viruses, but just to help your own internal sort of defences against any illnesses that might be floating around. So just come to standing. Let's take the feet maybe about shoulder width apart. Keep the knees soft. And keep the hips facing the front. We're just going to loosen up the spine. So check in with the weight distribution on the feet. Make sure that you've got some weight on the heels and some weight on the balls of the feet. And maybe even just slightly back onto the heels a little bit more. Keep the knees soft and then just spin gently round and round. This just loosens up the spine, the lower half of the spine, so the lumbar sacral spine. It also helps the digestion and digestive organs. So just keep moving here until you feel that any resistance, any tightness, any tension in the spine, just diminish. And then just put it back in, shake out the arms. Swing the arms back and forward, arms facing in. And then just come back and shrug the shoulders up and down, just sort of loosen the shoulders. So lift up and then let go. And shake out. Okay, we'll just do one more twist. So we're going to take the right foot to the right about 45 degrees, turn the left foot in, bend the knee, lift the heel. And at the same time, we're going to inhale and we're going to take the right hand behind the back and the left hand coming across about shoulder or chest height. Then exhale round the other way. So make sure that you don't choke yourself when you're doing this. Just keep it low, keep it at the shoulder, keep it at the chest. Inhale right. Twisting right round to the edge, exhale now. And again, keep moving. So it's a nice, easy, gentle movement, zero resistance. We'll go around 7 times each side, but I've lost count. Sorry. It's the natural breath dictating the pace of the movements. I'm going to make this my last one. Exhale round and shake out. Again, just shake out the legs. Shake out the arms. I'm going to take a little gentle side bend. I'm going to start off stretching up actually, so just palms facing up and stretch up straight. Just stretching each side. Stretching the back. So come onto the heels and stretch the back body all the way up. Stretch the front, keep the knees soft. Big stretch and release. Okay, just make the arm twist. And then taking the right hand onto the left wrist. And I'm going to pull up. So I'm using this hand to pull this arm up towards the ceiling. So it's much more of a stretch up than how far can I get over to the side at the moment. So just pull up towards the ceiling. Make sure the weight is even on both feet, so you're not leaning over onto the right leg and you're not leaning onto the left leg. It's evenly distributed. Keeping the knees soft, pushing down into the legs, stretching the arm up. Release. Another side. Take a hold of the left arm and pull it up. No, take a hold of your right arm. That's right. This is my right arm. I get so used to mirroring, I just don't know what's my left and right anymore. Just make sure you do one side, then the other. Keep lifting up, keep the knees soft. This is a parasagittal stretch, so it's in the sagittal plane, but it's parallel to that plane. It's just one whole section. The body getting a stretch and shake out. Okay, we're going to take the feet a little bit wider, and you can turn the feet out a little bit. So maybe the heels are about shoulder width and a little bit wider, and maybe the toes are coming out towards the side of the mat. And then all I'm going to do is make sure you get that weight even. So don't lean forward, just get the weight even on all points of the feet. Keep the knees soft, and then stretch the left arm up towards the ceiling. And then if you can, drop the elbow behind the head. But if you don't have the flexibility to take the arm behind like that, then fine. It's not about wrenching yourself into shapes. Maybe you just have to keep your arm maybe on top of the head or something like that. Don't get too hung up on picture perfect poses from textbooks. Just have a nice stretch, and then just lean over to the side. So you've got your left arm up and you're leaning to the right. Keep the weight even on all points of the feet. Keep the knees soft, and this elbow is pointing up towards the ceiling, and we're starting to really stretch up the side now, really working these internal organs. Keep breathing. And release. And just release the neck. Release the spine. Just what we need to do. And we'll come over to the other side now. So keeping the feet just that slightly wider stance. Right arm up, lean back, soft knees, arm behind the head. And just stretch up the other side. Elbow up to the ceiling. Try and leave some space between the ear and the shoulder here. So not like this, just let the arm come down to wherever it needs to be. Feel a stretch. Nice stretch up the left. And release. Release. Relax. And now we're going to bend the knees, release the spine. So taking the knees maybe, I don't know, maybe a little bit less than the width of the mat. The knees a little bit bent. Maybe roll the weight onto the outside edges of the feet here and keep the knees wide. And then just hang down. It doesn't matter if you don't get your hands down onto the floor. Just keep the knees bent and just go side to side. So please getting in the road here for a change. So as I go side to side, I'm just feeling a stretch across the lower back, across the sacrum, around the hip. It's quite good for releasing any blocked energy around the hips and the sacrum and the pelvis, where the water element resides, and this is your energy. So quite often doing something that kind of releases the hips and the lower back can result in feeling more energized, which is just what we need for the weekend. That was a bit sarcasm there, because I don't know if we can count it as a weekend if we're not allowed to go anywhere. So just keep swinging. And then come back to the center and start to straighten up the legs a little bit and just hang. And just release the rest of the back. So moving that stretch up a little bit now. Maybe a little bit to the side. So it's moving up towards the back. Not where the kidneys are. I'm just going to slowly roll up and relax the jaw. And now feel this stretch across the back of the shoulders, stretching out the whole entire back. And come back. Shake out. Just shake out the legs. Shake out the arms. Do maybe a little stronger side bend now. I'm going to take this into a little sequence. So just take your right leg out to the side and turn it. So I'm not going to say too much about alignment here, but just be careful that, if you put your feet at right angles to one another, bear in mind that very few people are going to have a 90-degree rotation in the hip. So either you're going to just have to turn the foot in from the 90 degrees a bit, or you're going to let your hips move. So if your hips are facing the front, you might just want to move around a bit, okay? Don't force that right angle position, just be comfortable. Okay? What's going to do? Forget. Right, so from here, just lift the left hip up. So you can see that my hip's higher on this side than this one, and bend the knee. Okay, so my knee's behind the foot. It's not coming all the way over, putting a lot of load on that knee. Just keep it back. And then just make sure that you're not bending. So from here, I want to keep the alignment straight here. So I don't want to bend like that when I'm doing my side bend, because that's taken away from the actual stretch on the side. I want to keep that nice and straight and true. So from here, I'm just going to take this arm up and behind again if you can. And just rest the elbow on the thigh. Go back to this stance. Okay. And take a breath here. So this elbow is going up towards the ceiling. And then I can stretch that out straight across, keeping the chest facing the front. And then from here, I'm going to attempt to straighten this leg up, and then just take a nice straight line up the arms. And again, make sure that we're not bending to get further down. Keep that line here, hips pushing in that direction. So from the side, I'll show you what I just did there. So often the temptation is to get the hand onto the foot or to get deeper down into the floor like this, but as you can see, I'm bending. So if I straighten up and push the hips, we're in a nice straight line. I get a much stronger stretch on the side and I'm much further away from the floor. Pushing down into the feet, nice big stretch. And then take the arm overhead, deeper stretch. And then from here, bend the knee. So that's the right leg, bend the knee, come up, take the hands onto the hips. And then just make sure that you get yourself set up in the middle. Spine upright, look towards your left. And then take the arms out. And you can gaze across your right arm if you want. Or just somewhere in the distance. Pushing down vertically into the feet. And then you can take this arm up and behind the head. And get a nice stretch up here now. Just with a single left arm over to the left leg. And stretch the arm up. You push down strongly and vertically into the feet. To the space opening up around the hips and the pelvis. And come back up. Shake out. Take the feet parallel. Soft knees. Just come down and release. Release the spine. And just release the back. And come up slowly. Slow all the way up. Standing. I'm going to do the other side obviously. So just have a good old shake out. Release in whatever way you need to. And then just come over to the left side and right side, and then take the left out. Okay, so bending the knee. Just see what happens when I lift the right hip up. It just kind of takes that knee back. Being right over the foot, okay? And taking the right arm behind the head. Stretch, move over. Left elbows on the thigh. Just keep breathing, nice and natural. And then you can stretch the arms straight out. Just stretch up the side, intensify. And then let's see if we can straighten this leg, and then just take a nice straight line. And remember, this is where we can get tempted to kind of fold over that way. And what we need to do is get the hips aligned so that we're getting much more of a stretch up the side of the torso. Big stretch. And then overhead for more intense stretch. Push down vertically into the feet. And then bend the left knee again, come up. Just get yourself settled. Look over your right shoulder, and then over the left, push down vertically. And take the stretch. Left arm behind. Stretch up this side now. So relaxed. Pushing down into the feet. So you push down into the feet, you get your stirrup on in the feet, and you feel the weight of the body, the whole of the centre of gravity moving down into the base. And just feel the lightness that comes with that. The super that means opening up the hips. Let's just take a stretch up and back. Gently. Come back, soft knees. Just move around. Releasing. Releasing the spine. Really shaking. Is it cold in here? And let's just take the hands down. Put them down. And we'll just do a bit of a back bend now. So let's change the angle. I'm going to start with just a simple cat-cow. Just to warm up. So we know our cat-cow, don't we? Just taking the hands down. So just think about the arms coming down right under the shoulders. You're having to maybe pull them in this muscle switching on. Let's see what happens when we just take them out to a nice easy place. They're kind of coming out a little bit wider than the shoulders. So let's just take them here and roll the shoulders, get a piece of the elbow facing the front, and then take the knees underneath the hips, underneath the sit bones. Roll the shoulders and lengthen through the spine. Get a nice neutral long spine. Lovely. Push down into the hands, push down into the knees. And once you start moving, you might want to start moving. Oh, thanks. Start changing the position of your knees relative to the hands. You might want to move them closer or further away. Hi, can you turn and face the other way when you're doing that, please? You don't need to see that. So inhale in position. And as you exhale, start with the base. So scoop the tailbone in and use the abdominal muscles to scoop in one vertebrae after the other And then the centre of the spine comes up to the ceiling, drop the head. Just feel that stretch, and that's when you might want to move the knees further in towards the hands. And I'm going to start moving the other way on the inhale, starting from the base on the inhale. And don't put the shoulders up to the ears, keep that space in the neck. Exhale, scoop. Don't be scared to move towards the front and the back of your mat, as you can see. I'm kind of moving back and forward in this sort of direction. I'm just going with the flow. Inhale. And scoop the belly, go back. And exhale. Keep the elbows in, keep the crease of the elbow facing the dorsal thigh high. So you can stay here if you want, and otherwise you can go into a much stronger flat bend here by going into Anahatasana. Anahata is the heart chakra. You need to move. You need to move. So with this, it's quite extreme if you keep the thighs upright and then drop the chest right down. So don't do that unless you can. And with the chin, like this, I don't want you walking about in a neck brace, being super hypermobile in the spine and, put this neck brace on. That's not good. So you need to just make sure that you look after your neck. Yes, I know you love me, and I love you too. So you might want to have the elbows down and the hands just rest on the forehead and take the chin down. Just be careful. I'm just going to turn around and face the other way, Harry. So just, and if you need to move your angle so that instead of the thighs being straight up and down, you can lean in so that you're coming down like that, then you can do that as well. It's quite demanding. So I'm just going to come down and make sure you put some weight on your arms. Yeah, so it's really the arms that are holding me here. And curl onto the toes, really rolling the shoulders open, weight on the arms, and make it enjoyable. It's not supposed to be an ordeal. Nice, back to your breath. Come out whenever you need to. So any modifications might look more like this. So that you've got much more weight on the elbows and the chest might not be touching the ground. Just go to where you can, and then when you're ready to come out, what I usually do for coming out is take one hand down, turn my head, bring the other arm down. So I'm really being super careful with my neck, and just being mindful that I don't want to put any weight on it in the wrong way. So get yourself out of that and just shake out. Just come down to just a neutral spine, more light and lengthening up. So that's the neutral spine. And then maybe we'll come into a nice, easy child's pose. So just taking the knees a little bit apart. And then just hips down onto the heels. Even if you're just on your elbows and your fists, it's the hips down is the priority, and then the head can come down towards the floor. And just make sure that you've got a bit of an arch in your back here. So we don't want another spinal extension, we want a spinal flexion. So the whole point of doing this after the back bend is we want spinal flexion. It's the counter pose. So if you're hell-bent on getting your hips down and your head down, and it means you're like this, then you're defeating the whole purpose, because this is spinal extension. Breathing into the back and sides of the legs, release the spine. And then come back to kneeling. I'm just going to do a little twist. So if kneeling's really bad for you, you don't like it, you can go into an alternative. Just whatever. Cross-legged might work, I suppose. And we're just going to actually do this. Oh, sorry, I just punched you in the face, Harry. So this is just like the Dallas twist thing that we did at the beginning. But we're just releasing the spine. Harry, you're right in the road. He thinks it's a game. It's not a game. It's definitely not a game, Harry. There's nothing game-like about it. Trust me. Trust me. So, now what I want to do is come into a down dog. I'm going to do a little bit of plank type stuff. And maybe lift one leg up and things like that. So we're going to be working the core. Okay. So I'm going to demonstrate this. Hopefully, if you've got space, demonstrate from the side. So just from your kneeling position, just take the hands down, roll the shoulders, get the crease of the elbow facing up towards your front. And then just step the knees back a bit, come onto the toes. Can you see Harry? Move. Coming onto the toes. Harry, come on, move out the road. Come onto the toes. Now knees in the road. And push the head and the chest down towards the knees on the left. Don't worry about bending, straightening the legs. Don't worry about getting the heels down. Just maybe stepping a bit. Keep it nice and easy. Roll the shoulders and push into the hands and lengthen through the spine. So think of this upper body in down dog as almost being one half of the pose, and then the legs is going to be the other half. So right now we're focusing on the upper body and don't care about the legs. Lengthen up through the spine. And then from here, just take one heel down and up and the other heel down and up. So I'm walking the dog, but there's very little movement here. It's not a big, huge thing like this I'm doing. I'm keeping that alignment in the upper body and then just taking one heel down, other heel down and up. Sorry. Right. Just walking the dogs. And then come up onto the ball of the foot with the heels up, push into the hands, pointy triangle, pushing vertically down into the hands and the balls of the feet. Feel that in the core as you make your pointy triangle. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, heels down. Hold the position, take a few breaths. With every inhale, lengthen up through the spine. Maybe exhale with the ground a bit down into the heels, switching on the legs. So we've got the upper body on the inhale. That lightness, that ease, that length. And the upper body and on the exhale, we're grounding down. Getting that steer, getting that ground and that firmness, that strength in the legs. So if you need to rest, just come down onto the knees and down to child's pose. If you want, you can stay in round dog. Just make sure that you're happy with what you're doing. Your body is happy. Okay, so let's get ready now. So you can start with your right leg up, but I'm going to demonstrate with my left leg coming up. So as I take the weight onto your left foot, lift your right leg. Don't follow the hip right up. If you keep the sacrum level here, then you'll be feeling that work in the core underneath your right leg, which is raised. And in really strong legs, see my heel, my foot is flexed. And then I'm just going to bring the knee in towards the chest, keeping rolling the shoulders open. And then from here I'm going to come forward, keeping the elbows in and the crease of the elbow facing the front into a plank here. And then I'm going to come back. And then I'm going to take one leg straight out behind the ball. Let's do 3 of these. Good, really strong, gentle, slow movements. You can bend the elbows a little bit to make it a bit more challenging. Strong, it doesn't matter how high, just get it strong. And in, the chest, and forward, and back. And just shake out the legs, and you can stay here and have a nice down dog if you find that restorative. Or you can restore in child's pose. Just get that breathing to come back down to a nice calm equilibrium. Few breaths in your chosen restorative position. So you can tune into the heartbeat or the pulses around the body. Observing the natural breath and watching it just slowing way back down. And when you're ready, we'll do this on the other side. So, like this, I will demonstrate on the other side. So now you're going to be lifting your left leg. So, get the leg up, keeping the second leg off, keep strongly all the way out, pushing. If you're pushing something away from you, and ready, bend and right into the chest, keep the elbows in, and forward into your plank. And push back out, and stretch the leg out. And again. Last one. Come back again. Just restore and then down dog. Arm and down to the child's pose. Just have the arms across. Or if your head is comfortably on the floor, you can keep your arms behind. Rest it on the forehead. And the shoulders melting down into the floor. But if you feel that a strain, that your neck is holding a lot of that weight, you need to bring your arms round for support. Stay here and breathe. Nice. Nice. Just restoring completely. Observing the natural breath. And then just gently come down onto your back. Something nice and stretch around the hips. So from here, slowing down, and take your right leg across. And see if you can get that heel right down and see. Turn to the side. Right leg, and see if you can get the heel right down. So really, it's like a supine pigeon, but We're almost getting the thighs parallel and the knees together. Just see if you can take this down so that the feet comes down. You can hold on to that. But just relax the other leg. And this hip here, so this hip here, it's not lifting up too much because that's like a two-point twist. I want that heel to be down onto the floor. Yeah? So that what I'm feeling is a good stretch here. This knee is not here, it's pushing up to the ceiling. And you're going to really stretch in the hip. Let's take a few nice deep long breaths here. And stretch right here. And if you're super gallus, you can try and take your big toe off your arm leg. It's your first and second finger. If you go now. Make sure your head and neck is relaxed on the floor. And then take this knee to the side. And maybe just side to side. So if you've not got the hand on the toes, then you might just have the hand on the thigh or something. Just pushing this knee away from you. And just moving side to side. Nice stretch around the hip. To have the knee away from you, away from your chest so that you're getting a rotation. If you need to bring this leg right down, that's fine. And then just unravel your legs, straighten them up towards the ceiling. What you need to do to just shake out from this. And do the other side. So make sure you've completely released. And then when you're ready, left leg comes down. I think this might be my last stretching leg, I'm not sure. So get that heel down, knee up, so not here but here. That way, and this hip should be doing this way. So you should be able to feel it. Stretch. Just again on the side of your locked energy. Around the sacrum. Covering the kidneys. Again, just the elimination. And if you want to, if it's accessible, you can hook the first and second finger. If you can arrange your head and shoulders up, you put something under your head and just let go of your toe, it's fine. You want this, you need to be pushing out from the chest. So over here. And release. Up to something like this. Or just bring that foot all the way down. Side to side. So just depending on your own situation. So I've always got different rotation in the hip. Some people are very externally rotated and some people are very internally rotated and some people are both and some people are neither, and it's all good. Whichever you are is fine, but if you're naturally not very externally rotated, then you won't be able to do this, get the hand up like that, have the knee away from the chest. And then just when you're ready, down and release. And whatever you need to do, just to release, restore, shake out, just massage your low back on the mat. And then you can come into your relaxation position. Get your layers on if you need them. And I'm just going to show you, you can be in your normal Shavasana, you can have your legs up the wall, or you can be like, being on the sofa or the bed or something. I'll just I'll talk you through this. If you want to, try lying on your front and you can have your hands and your forehead on the hands, or you can turn to the side and take your hands down. But then curl onto your left toes, lift so you can see my knee lifting up and the heels pushing away from my hip. And it's lengthening through that leg, and then I'm going to drop it down. I feel much more connected feeling the front of the, the upper thigh on the side that I've just kind of stretched compared to the other side. And we'll do the other side now, just curling onto the toes, lifting the hip, lifting the knee and pushing the heel down on the leg, and just feel connected. Just resting. And then breathe. When you breathe, when you lie on your belly, you're not massaging the internal organs. If there's any tension or tightness, you can get a bit kind of locked up inside. And then you can feel anxiety and stress and kind of threat, and you can just tighten up around the pelvis, around the abdominal region, and just relax all the digestion. And it's just release, breathing into the belly, and massaging the internal organs. And then when you exhale, can you feel a pulse in your belly somewhere? No matter if you can't, make sure it's there, but it's just an indication of your digestive fire, your acne, which is really important for the health and well-being, for your digestion, your elimination, your immune system, and also really for mental health as well, just staying strong within yourself, staying centered. So you can stay here as long as you want. Turn over and lie on your back or any other relaxation position as you then choose, or just stay here. Doing home relaxation, it's really important to incorporate relaxation into our list of things we have to do every day. So I hope you enjoyed this. Subscribe to my channel, give me any thumbs up, whatever, and any comments. I'll see you again. Take care, namaste, stay safe. Thank you for watching. Bye. Thank you, bye. Bye.